She's dead. You killed her.
I didn't mean to kill her. Really, I didn't.
What's up, everybody? Mike here with the Z-Man Show. Fear the Walking Dead, Season 6, Episode 9. And, you know, that clip I just showed, that's how I kind of feel with this episode. It's weird. It's like, it wasn't a bad episode, but I don't think it was a great episode. It's just, I feel like there's a lot of ups and downs as we finally lead to Virginia's death. You know, I mean, I guess there was no other way that this could have gone down except by Jenny dying in the end. Of course, most of us wanted it. I mean, she kind of was like the evil, wicked witch, and maybe even kind of looked like it too, just redheaded. You know, there's so much weird with this episode, kind of just these highs and lows as we lead up to it. And basically, you know, we see Jenny finally, she calls a shot. She's like, okay, I'm done messing around. She decides to line up the rest of Morgan's friends, or at least a portion of them, where all the others are. We don't exactly know, like the rabbi and some of the others, but all the same, she decides she's going to line them up like execution style, almost like Negan, almost like the same night when Negan took out Abraham and Glenn, and about to take out others for that matter. And just before that scene, we also saw June, and this is a very important scene as we see as she's burying John. It was a very bleak, and you know what? I guess maybe that's part of the reason why I feel so kind of melancholy during this episode, just because I'm like, man, I'm just kind of still reeling over John's death. I mean, he was actually one of the characters I actually cared about. June, really, I'm just kind of pissed at her because of her decisions. I mean, she is pretty much the main reason this happened. I mean, not exactly, indirectly, but still, she's still a part of the. You left John. You sent him into a spiraling depression. That man loved you, you know, and you chose Jenny and her colony over that, and just to find out that it was all BS anyways. Talk about rough decisions. I really don't feel bad for June. I really do not. I'd love to know what you guys think. Where are you at with your characters right now? Because I gotta be honest, I've been trying to really understand and think to myself, who am I really aligning with? And I mean, I want to align with Morgan, except he's kind of the goody two-shoe, kind of trying to work it all out in the end. You're like, oh, you know, I don't want to take a life and this and that, which is good. It's noble, but sometimes this is the right decision. And, you know, in the beginning, we see June and she takes John's gun, and you can tell she wants to go take out Virginia, and I almost thought she was going to get a chance, but one of the Rangers caught it like immediately, and rightfully so. And he takes the gun and off they go. And then the next thing we see again is all the friends lined up. And I think we had, oh gosh, I'm trying to think who was lined up. Well, we had Grace, number one, with Baby, and you know things are getting real when Virginia's getting ready to execute a pregnant woman, because he knows it'll hurt Morgan the worst there. And anyways, they're all just kind of lined up there. I think she sets June down there. Victor's there with some of you know, his crew as well, and it seems like he's fallen in line, but clearly he has something else in mind, what he's got up his sleeve. And then Morgan shows up. He shores up like the Valiant Knight or whatever, but basically calling Virginia out, saying, you kill my friends, you'll never see your sister again. We find out more about that again tonight too. And that's another reason I had an issue with this episode, but let's keep going. So they both call each other out. Then all of a sudden Strand pulls his power move. He goes, yeah, you know that army you were having me build? Well, they follow me. And I'm like, well, I mean, could he really? I mean, Victor's a smooth talker, so he might have been able to get all those people and those guys or whatever on his side. But you get this shootout that goes on between them, and so Victor wants Virginia, but then Virginia sends Grace and Daniel off, you know, with some of her crew, basically saying, you know, if anything happens to me, kill him or whatever. And then Morgan's grabbing. I mean, there's just all this kind of whose hostage is who, and you know, I mean, how many people want Virginia dead? I mean, get in line, right? And she's hiding some secrets, right? She knows that Dakota was the one that killed Cameron. She was hiding it. She's making her own laws, so she's total BS. She's going against her own rules for her colony. And so, yeah, she has a lot of things coming to her. And anyways, you guys saw the episode. Let's just skip through some of it. But, you know, Morgan keeping her alive. I mean, everything after she's put him through, you know, he even calls it out too, you know. You shot and left me for dead, to be eaten by zombies. You sent a guy to cut off my head. I mean, anyways, you just keep lining up. You threaten the ones I love. I mean, he has every reason in the world to take her out. But yet he's still finding some resistance to keep her alive. Is that really realistic? Only because probably she still has Grace and Daniel, and that's her play card. That's her power move. But meanwhile, while this is going on, then you got super mad female Sherry, you know, Dwight's ex, or kind of girlfriend, wife, but ex, not really. and she wants nothing but death for this woman. But I'm like, why is she so hurt by all this? I mean, I realize that she hurt these people, these exiles that wear the masks, but and killed some innocent people throughout, no doubt. But I'm like, why does Sherry have such a passion? What's her real foot and stake in the game? I mean, she's not in love with any of the guys that are part of this crew. I mean, so why does she feel so compelled? I can't remember, and if you guys can correct me, if maybe she was exiled as well, and I just forgot about that in one of the earlier episodes and seasons when she was talking to Dwight about it. But I digress. She's just super angry, and that's another reason why I'm really not liking her character. It's just, I guess I'm so disappointed by a lot of the actions of certain characters and what they've done to others. It's kind of in a bleak moment right now. And I don't think it's going to get much better, because now you have this doomsday cult that's about to come out of the background into the foreground, and they're gonna play their move. And it's probably not going to be good for many of the groups. But anyways, the showdown finally all goes down. Morgan is able, after avoiding tons of gunfire from Sherry's crew, or the guy she's hanging out with, and also Victor and his regulators basically following him down. They get to the dam area, right? And it's like a showdown, and Victor's basically saying, send Jenny out or we'll come in. I'm like, okay, Victor, I mean, you're supposed to be a good guy, right? And so, I'm like, what side of the righteousness are you on? I guess this is where the lines get really, really blurred for me, and I'm not digging Victor. I lost track with him a long time ago. He's only out for himself. He's extremely selfish. It's about a power play for him and him alone, so that he can survive and that he can rule. And I think he's tired of being like the puppet, like in the background. He wants to be front and center. Hey, good luck, buddy. I hope you're happy with what you have, and hopefully you don't get screwed over. I see him behind bars in one of the next episodes, it looks like, so I guess it's not going to work out exactly the way he wants. And who's to trust him ever again? Alicia? Can you blame her? I mean, she's like, how can I trust you at the end of the episode? But the way that this all went down, like I said, these highs and lows, I mean, so we get to find out that Virginia is actually Dakota's mother. I know, it's like, huh, what? Now, by the way, when you look at the two, I mean, hands off to the guys, the women or guys who are casting for this show, because they do actually look a lot alike, and maybe not just sisters, maybe like mother-daughter style. But apparently the grandparents were really awful people to Virginia, and so Virginia had to kill them so that she could get her daughter away. I guess they weren't approving of the baby, because I guess she was so young at the time. Virginia was so young. But we don't get to learn much about it. So we're getting all this on this final episode of Virginia's life, and it's not enough. I've got to be honest. It's not enough for me to care. I'm to this point, I'm just like, when they were deciding finally that they're going to let her go, like Morgan's about to chop her head off, but he doesn't do it. He's just like, this is not how we're going to start our new beginning, not with a death and not like this. And I'm like, okay, righteous, what I'd expect from Morgan. And then Victor's kind of like, all right, the man's got a point, kind of. And then he's trying to calm Sherry down. Sherry's barely calming down, but she's like, this isn't what we wanted. But I think she's starting to figure out this isn't going to do any good either way. And so she goes in and she's getting ready to basically spill these beans to Dakota, and she does. And Dakota's angry, but yet she's trying to come to terms with what happened. And it's a lot for Dakota to take in. It's a lot for us to take in. I mean, I'm kind of feeling bad for Virginia, a slight, tiny little bit, but barely. But again, we're just finding this all out. And so then we find out that Morgan and Alicia, they're going to let her go. They're going to let Virginia take Dakota and never to be seen again. Take the river to the mountains. You'll avoid your posse regulator peeps and whatever, and go live your life doing whatever you do. Okay, I mean, it's just like that. You're gonna let her go, huh? And I'm thinking to myself, man, you guys are gonna regret this probably down the line. And then June makes the call. June shows up, and Dakota's like, or sorry, Virginia's like, you saved my life twice now. Taking the bullet out of my arm. Thanks her, and of course June. It's kind of falling on half-assed deaf ears. You could totally tell. And so as they go get to Dakota, June's like, I'm going to go ahead and redress her wound. And I'm thinking to myself, nobody else is around here. And, the conversation starts. Apparently my wife said she already knew. She saw it right then and there. It took me just a few seconds, but finally I caught up. And I'm like, oh my God, she's going to kill her. And so they talk for a few moments, and not much coming out of June. And, Virginia's trying to say her piece or whatever. And then June pulls out the gun. She pulls out John's pistol, and when she drew it, I'm like, I don't think there's any backing out of this. They're gonna go forward with it, and they did. Nailed her right in the head. Nice wound job. Great makeup department. Gotta love it. Just blood pouring out of that skull frame. But yeah, and then she just kind of walks off in the distance, which is very odd to me. And how did you guys feel about that? I gotta really know, because I'm like, where are you going? I mean, she's not really friends with Victor. I mean, kinda. So maybe she might go back to Lawton where Victor's at now with his group of warriors. Um, she's not gonna go with Sherry's group. She doesn't even know them. So I mean, she's just kind of walking off in the distance, and we'll just see you when we see you. I mean, again, I don't feel sorry for June. You pretty much made this happen, indirectly, but I mean, it set the chain of events. It really did. Could Dakota have found him eventually? Would it still have gone down? Something like this? Anything's possible, but I doubt it. And so, I feel bad that she has to go through this, but I mean, honestly, you got him killed. You really did. So I'd love to know what you thought, what you think about this. Do you think June's responsible for John's death? Or do you think it's just how the chain of events just kind of worked out? How do you feel about Dakota, that she's going to be staying in this new reservation right here on the dam, with Morgan and the rest? I mean, that's going to be hella awkward. How's that going to work out? John was a dear friend to many of these people. When's Alicia going to finally step up and get back into the limelight again? Or is Morgan going to keep overshadowing her? There's a lot of questions we have. When is Sherry going to find? You know what? I'm about done with Sherry. Dwight, get a clue, dude. She doesn't obviously love you anymore, okay? Stop following around like a puppy dog. You did your part. You did everything you could to find this woman. And here, she has rejected you like twice, maybe even 3 times now. I mean, maybe more than that. It's done, dude. Just do not follow her around. Let her come back to you. Because at this point, that's the only way it should go down. She needs to come back and apologize and ask to be in your arms once again. And even my wife, she was like, totally, I mean, stop following her around. But even next episode, I see is like he's trying to follow her around again. I'm just like, dude, you're just gonna, you're gonna weaken yourself even more. Stay strong, Dwight. You can make it through. Anyways, this is basically the highlights that went on tonight. Virginia's dead, down with the witch. Probably the only way it could have gone down. We'll see what happens with Dakota in the future. I mean, frankly, I don't want her around. We already have Charlie, and some of us who either loved or didn't love Nick's character. I was indifferent when Nick died. When I learned more that the character wanted to leave the show. And for those that didn't know, the actor that plays John Dory. So as the story goes, I believe his father is in very, very poor health, and he wanted to go spend some time with him. Plus, there's other projects that he wants to do, and he says that eventually he kind of gets antsy, and he just kind of has to move on and do other things. So it's to be respected. He's been on the show for a while. I mean, we can't expect these people to hang around forever. I know we all hate it when these awesome characters that we get to know and love die off, but hey, it's part of the show, and let's face it raises the stakes. And because not everybody can survive. So this is Mike with the Z-Man Show. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, please maybe consider hitting the like button, maybe subscribing too. Go check out my Dead Nightmare series if you're into some indie zombie stuff, very small scale. We also have other reviews out there as well. And guys, other than that, we still have more episodes coming down the way, so make sure to come out late Sunday nights or maybe early Monday morning if you're getting your coffee or this or that. Until then, I'll see you at the next review.